Tonight, the first interview with the man in charge of investigating complaints inside a local police department. Just last week, our I-Team told you about a Prince George's County police officer who said he faced retaliation from fellow officers after reporting that an officer choked a handcuffed teenager.
Yeah, this is an example of the kind of case the new Inspector General, who now oversees the county's police department, may review for best practices. He sat down with investigative reporter Tracee Wilkins.
Nobody likes bad officers, right? Bad officers make it really hard for good officers.
Anthony Bennett knows the challenges he faces as new Inspector General for Prince George's County, and that includes looking into any complaints about the embattled county police department.
The goal is to have a police department that the community can have faith in and a community can trust.
The county's police department has experienced a lot of turnover in recent years, including a new chief, command staff, and a new director of public safety to oversee it all. The county settled a multi-million-dollar federal race discrimination case brought by some of its black and brown officers, and it's still under investigation by the Department of Justice for similar complaints.
I have the ability to go into the department, to look at things, to look at systems, use of force policies, training policies. Are they working the way that they need to?
Bennett is a Gulf War Army vet and retired law enforcement officer who comes from a family of police officers. After retiring from policing, he began a career in government investigations. His last job was Deputy Inspector General for the city of Atlanta. In his new job, he'll answer to the county executive's office instead of the police chief after the IG was reconstructed under new legislation in 2021. He thinks that separation will make investigating complaints against officers more transparent.
If we find that those officers that aren't doing what they need to do according to the policies and procedures, then, we'll work to discipline them. We'll work to get them out of the department.
While Bennett could not confirm or comment on any possible or pending investigations, we did get his thoughts about our recent report on Corporal Michael Brown, who says he and his partner faced retaliation from fellow officers after reporting a white officer who was later convicted of assaulting a handcuffed teenage suspect.
All I can do is tell you, going forward, this is how we'll operate, and we'll work to root out those police officers that don't share that vision.
Our investigation exposed a slew of racist texts between Prince George's County officers about Brown and other black officers. Investigators say they also uncovered a plot to abandon Brown and his partner if they were ever in distress, calling them snitches. The practice is known as a code red. What is a code red?
Essentially, you're saying they're on their own. You're leaving someone vulnerable, in an extremely vulnerable position.
The Prince George's County Police Department declined multiple requests for an interview about Brown's case, but in a statement said once the department became aware of the alleged threats of retaliation, those threats were immediately investigated and several officers linked to the allegations were suspended.
So if you have a situation where backup is not given and we find out about it, then yes, that is something that I will go full board to investigate.
Bennett made it clear that officers must report fellow officers suspected of breaking the law and that any whistleblowers will be supported.
There are federal, state, and county laws that protect these individuals. They're encouraged to come forward because the goal is, again, to root out bad behavior, root out fraud, root out waste, root out abuse, etc.
Bennett's office does not have the power to fire officers, but it can recommend that the chief remove or discipline an officer or that the state's attorney brings criminal charges.
I make recommendations, and typically the recommendations are strong enough to, if they don't fire them, then they have to explain for that.
One of the big changes between this IG's office and the former one is location. This office is now located in the county administration building as opposed to the police department. The Inspector General is saying he's ready to hear from the public and would like emails from folks. You can do so anonymously if you have a complaint, but it would be easier for them if you left contact information, giving them an opportunity to follow up with questions. I'm Tracee Wilkins, News 4 I-Team.
Now, the officer convicted of assault, Daryl Wormuth, has denied wrongdoing and is currently appealing his conviction. According to his attorney, he's suspended from the department.